Hey everybody, welcome to Sheepdog Productions.
Have you ever been lost and out of control? Sometimes God sends another soul. That's what Sheepdog is, going in the dark, catching them before they sin, leaving them all.
Hey guys, long anticipated, been waiting for Dr. Pincus to come sit down with us, have a conversation with us. Again, who is Dr. Pincus? He is the president of NC Right to Life. We've had the benefit as an organization to not only be at a silent auction forum for a gala, we've also been, we were invited to be a speaker at the Pro-Life Raleigh, and we plan on maybe in 2025 doing something else with him. Stay tuned. Keep watching. But welcome, Dr. Pincus.
Thanks
How are you,
for
man?
having me. I'm doing great, man.
Good.
It's always
Great
good to see you
brother.
guys,
Yeah.
and thanks for your support. So important nowadays to support the
Amen.
pro-life movement.
Now, again, before I get into the crux and the deep stuff here, I want to ask you just, what you got any plans for Christmas?
Well, our house is under construction, so my
Okay.
wife said, well, let's get an Airbnb. So all the kids are going to come to
Oh.
Jamestown, and we're all going to meet there.
That's a great
big
idea, by the
house.
way. That's
Yeah,
a great idea.
yeah.
We do that sometimes. We have 15 people in our family that is like immediate, my brother Jonathan and his family too. We get our father will get like a bed and breakfast or a condo and
Right.
say, come during this time if you can. We got a place for you, so it's kind of cool. That's really cool. Well, listen, you do such a serious job. I do a serious job every day. I help business owners stay in business and protect them from wrongdoing. And you protect people from wrongdoing as well, don't you? You're a speaker against abortion. I mean, obviously.
We definitely decide, we strongly support the unborn babies and their mothers too, because the mothers are in crises, and that sometimes shoves them into the abortionist corner. So we want to support the women that are in these crisis pregnancies, not just during their pregnancy, but a year or two afterwards, and give them job training, support laws that will bring social services in to support families.
Right.
It's so important.
So let me ask you this question. I mean, do you think, where are we at? What needs to happen for abortion to be banned in North Carolina completely?
So obviously the laws have to change, right? But we have to change enough hearts and minds first before we can get those laws changed.
Amen.
So it is so important in the electorate to vote for pro-life officials and to encourage them when they stand up for life. Tell them you got their back, because regardless of party, Libertarian, Republican, Democrat, Green Party, if you're pro-life, we're for you.
Amen.
And
I like that.
the problem
No
is,
denomination required. Just be pro-life.
the thing is, if you don't exist because you were aborted, nothing else matters.
Right.
I mean, that's the central thing.
What did Ronald Reagan say? Do you remember? I had a shirt on at your gala. Do you remember what it said, anybody? The Ronald Reagan shirt? It's like, I see all of you here tonight that are for abortion have been born already, or something like that.
Right, exactly.
I love that shirt.
Exactly.
We'll show a picture of that shirt, by the way. Dr. Pincus, the other part of this is, and I want to tell you just my own personal experience. I have been somebody in my own lane that has kind of stayed away from things that are confrontational. I also believe that you should stand for something or you'll fall for anything, so I want to draw my line very clear there. And as of me helping you the last couple of years, it's the first time I've ever dealt with somebody shunning me or somebody saying, we're not going to let your organization be a part of this because we stand for you and we stand for life. That's a misconception, of course, right? But what do you think about that? I mean, I'm in a real fight right now where people are against Sheepdog. Can you believe it? Because we are against abortion.
It's just, people are not educated enough. They don't respect life.
That's right.
It is just so important, the life issues. And not only at the beginning of life, our neighbor to the north, Canada, now has medical aid in dying, assisted suicide for the elderly. Or you don't even have to be old. You can be severely depressed, and they'll say, well, it's cheaper for us to give you these pills. Go ahead and kill yourself. We don't want the burden, and you might as well just end it anyway, which is just crazy. Right. The European Union and the Netherlands actually was the one that really started with the euthanasia of the older folks, and now people are afraid to go to the hospitals there because they might be euthanized. I think the pendulum is swinging more conservative now, because I've heard some good things out of the Netherlands. But like I said, our neighbor to the north, Canada, in 10 years has just gone completely crazy. They offer medical aid in dying to their veterans who have post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is crazy. Those people need psychiatric care, and they can get over their crucial medical issues so that they're not suicidal. So Tunnels to Tower what was initiated after 9/11, and it was also helped first responders and veterans and people that are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome and homeless veterans. And it's a very good organization. It's very positive, and it's helping people overcome this post-traumatic stress that they've had experienced in war.
Right.
Recommending that a veteran just be euthanized to deal with post-traumatic stress betrays such a profoundly evil philosophy. Like, well, we're already done with you. You already did your thing. You might as well just go die. It's disgusting.
Well, when the medical profession gets into that life-death issue, that is very wrong, because, the first thing is we swear to take an oath to do no harm.
Right.
And even with the pregnant woman, we're doing a harm to the baby. Yeah. We're killing the baby in the most safe place that baby's supposed to be.
Not including the mental or psychological effects after the abortion. That is too many times the only research. I've just started researching this a couple of years ago. I'm sorry, I've been turned off. Okay, I got activated. I start looking at it and I go, most of this stuff. All right, it's about this isn't about really abortion. This is about women's freedom. This is about taking a woman's right away from being able to tell me I can do something or I can't do it. And it becomes an attitude of this nature. What do you think about that? Because we're willing to risk abortion because you're telling me I can't do it or not. You know what I mean? Like, right. This is about women's rights.
The thing is, if you can kill the most innocent among us, then what's to prevent you from killing somebody else?
Ooh,
and I think
I
think that part of our society, because we have no respect for life, has carried over into us living people, our teenagers, our young people, and their appreciation of life is limited. Yeah. It is not valued.
It's true. They try and say that there's no value in the fetus inside of the womb, and I'm like, that's a baby. I've done enough of this research now where from conception, from the moment that sperm hits that egg, there's this light. It's an illuminated light. It goes off behind it. But look at this. Look at that light. That's life. That's a baby. That is not a fetus. Okay, sorry.
Well,
that's right.
There are early Christian texts that speak about abortion. They refer to it as destroying the image of God. Thou shalt not destroy the image of God, which is, I would say, purest at that point. I mean, you have an innocent, a perfectly innocent human being, and and I've heard abortion referred to as the demonic parody of the Eucharist. I mean, if you look at the people who are pro-abortion, they use the sacred words of institution. This is my body. They take those words and they turn them into, this is why I should be able to murder a baby.
Wow.
Those are the sacred words of Christ giving us the Eucharist.
Yeah.
And they use it for that.
But I think, I said in the Raleigh speech, I just remembered, like a long time ago in Coliseums, they used to fight human beings to kill each other and things like that. And now we are really living in a world where we're arguing to kill babies and to off the elderly. Wow. It's crazy. We need God more than ever in this world.
But I think there's hope, and again, that's one of the main things. Not only do we at North Carolina Right to Life try to convince legislators to pass pro-life laws and to work to get pro-life legislators elected, we reach out to the young people. We have a Camp Joshua for the high school students, and it's 12 hours. It's a Friday night and all day Saturday, basically. And
I remember we got to go talk with all the kids at the Camp Joshua.
That's right. That's right.
Here's a video right here.
Yeah, that's right. We have that.
Amen.
And it's great because that's how we change hearts and minds.
Right.
The young people are all over social media, all over TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Maybe not so much Facebook, but definitely TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. And that's the way that we need to go to approach this. And, I hate to use it. I have a little bit of credibility because I'm a medical doctor. I have some training in that. I understand that. In fact, I was able to deliver my 4 children.
Wow.
The OB let me deliver them, and that was
That's
just
so cool.
that was amazing, and the miracle of life.
An ENT
Incredible.
delivering babies. I love it. Come on. What can you not do, doctor? No, but I really just want to say thank you for standing on the hill you're on. I kind of go off topic sometimes, and I go back to the point that I have had rejection now in my own life, and I'm somebody who likes to be liked by everybody. So, and I just stand for you, and you're like, no matter what, I mean, do you ever have to deal with that negativity? Do you ever have to deal with people that approach you in a, not a really
Sure.
loving way?
Sure, and
how do you handle that?
It happens at the state fairs. We have a pro-life booth at the state fair. It's open to anybody to come by, and obviously most people come by are very supportive, very appreciative, but we do have some people that are argumentative. But it's crazy. The one person came by and said, "Have you ever been pregnant?" I said, "No," and she walked away. "Well, you don't know anything about this," and I'm like, what does that have to do with it? Yes, I know a lot about it. I probably know more than you because I've been through the medical school. I've delivered babies in my OBGYN rotation. I study medicine. I'm up to date in my field.
Right.
But she just stormed away. And a lot of times I find that people are very angry and hostile. I mean, we have protesters when we do our peaceful march.
We had a couple of them at the one. They were standing on both sides of the row with drums. Do you remember?
Right.
Beating drums over here. I don't remember what it was. I was happy to be involved in a fight, to be honest with you. Not in a real physical fight, Lord. We're talking about a spiritual fight, okay? A fight against people trying to do wrong, and we're just trying to educate people to do right. And here's the thing. If we educate ourselves, and we really educate ourselves the right way, then we can actually go into different spaces, not only in our home, in our work, in this world, and we can actually make a difference in people's lives. One of the things Dr. Pincus was talking about was you can't have an ear of anybody until you have trust. You've got to have some trust and rapport established. Be somebody who's credible, who shows up to different things where people see him in multiple places where they want to have a conversation with him. If every time somebody went up to him, they gave him an attitude and he gave him an attitude back, I'm sure Dr. Pincus wouldn't, have the forum and the opportunity that he does today. So I always liken it like this. My kids, when they played football, they'd go in the grocery store parking lot and they'd have the jersey on for our team. And if they acted good, I'd get reports as the coach of the team, right? I get reports that say, wow, those are some really good kids. If those kids were messing around in the parking lot, I get some bad reports as well, too. And we're actually representing, I believe, God when we're talking about this thing about pro-life. This isn't Dr. Pincus or John Paul's personal opinion. This is something that I believe is endorsed by God. And if we can actually put God's fingerprint and thumbprint on this idea, then people will start to really weigh and measure what they're actually talking about. When I've had the opportunity to talk with people, it actually came down again to freedom of choice.
Right.
And I have young daughters. I have young daughters that are in their 20s and they have friends, and I've talked to them about this thing in a very sensitive way. And it's all been about nobody's going to tell me what I can and can't do. And I go, what in the world? So again, I think transforming people's minds. There was a movie called 6 Degrees of Separation, I believe it is, but having like a couple of degrees shift in your brain about how you think about this stuff. Anyway, I thank you for everything you do with that.
You were exactly right when you were talking about like how we comport ourselves, because it comes down to a difference in philosophy. I mean, the people that are arguing that I should be able to do what I want with my body, they view human beings as parasites. We view them as image bearers of God, worthy of royal dignity, and we should treat our enemies that way. If somebody comes at you hostile, they'll notice that you're treating them, politely and in a dignified way, and that, our whole philosophy is that life is worth living because God said so, and you're worth something to God because you're breathing right now. It's...
Amen.
Well, the other thing is, these women that are in these pregnancies that don't want to be pregnant, we got to treat them with love and compassion. We have to support the women and protect the babies. I think, the pro-life movement has a lot of times been focused on the baby, but if we can't even help the woman, then there's no way that she's going to want to carry the baby.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's talk about a couple more of these points here. What do you have coming up here? Any events that people can get involved in? How do people follow you, Doc?
Well, we have a website, www.ncrtl.org. It's the standards for North Carolina Right to Life.
Okay.
And we have a prayer breakfast coming up February 1st at Northridge Country Club here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And
hopefully Sheepdog will be there.
Yes, definitely invited. And Dr. Susan Bain, who is a pro-life OBGYN, she is on the board of directors for APLOG, which is the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs. She will be speaking as our keynote speaker. We're excited to have her. She's actually local here in North Carolina. So she'll be speaking. She's an excellent speaker. She's spoken around the country at different news outlets too. She spoke at National Right to Life Conference last year, the national conference.
Did I meet her? Who was the lady on the stage? They had the president of all. She's over not just NC Right to Life. She was over all.
What stage? National.
That was the NC. That was the rally that I spoke at.
Oh yeah, that was Carol Tobias.
The national.
Yeah.
The national.
Yeah, we had Carol Tobias, who's the president of National Right to Life Committee.
There you go.
She came down and spoke at our March last year as our keynote speaker.
Right.
Yes.
Let's see. What are your needs for your organization? I'd like to, even if we were talking to people and they said they watched this episode, they watched this, and this is something that you're passionate about. You don't really have a space. You don't really know how to get involved. Maybe you can help with volunteering or donating some money to this organization. What do you need, Dr. Pincus? We need to hear it.
So one of the things, like all nonprofit organizations, we struggle with finances, and that limits us to what we can and can't do. I'd like to have a bigger outreach with the Hispanic community because we have a rapidly growing Hispanic community here in North Carolina.
Wow, that's really good.
So I need to get somebody who's fluent in both English and Spanish, and that can help us with our social media stuff. We just got two younger people that one fellow is at the Divinity School at Duke, who's come on board, very tech savvy. He's like 24 or 5-ish. And he's doing the studies to be a minister.
Right.
So he came on board, Robert Morabito.
Okay.
So he just came on board earlier this month, and so did Elizabeth Lakowski.
You still got Brian there, right?
Brian's there. Yeah, Brian's my right-hand man.
I like that guy. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Brian, I like it.
He's very good.
And Natalie, right?
And Natalie's there. She's more backing off a little bit, but she's going to still be involved with us when we do a lot of these projects.
For the season she was there, she was a rock star.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I need to make a shout out right now, to Natalie, because at the gala, which was in Greensboro last year, when Seth Dillon spoke from Babylon B,
that was amazing.
I totally didn't give any credit to Natalie Sonnet, and she was just dynamic. She was the one that pushed us and got us through that 50th anniversary celebration.
Man, I know she was the center. That was like, we got some people here that kind of put these events together behind the scenes, and they're as important as us on stage talking to people and everything. I definitely agree about Natalie. So
yeah, wonderful woman.
All right, do you feel like there's been a drop-off in pro-life activism since Roe versus Wade?
I would say no, because it has become a state issue. Now, obviously, there are some states, New York is one, Illinois is one, California is one, probably a lot of the states in the Northeast, in New England, are very pro-abortion, and it's hard for us to get traction there. And that's why I think it's so important. Not only do we work at advocacy with the legislators and trying to get laws changed, but the outreach to the young people with the education, because you've got to change the society.
Right.
You've got to change the culture.
But where do we it has to happen on both sides, though, doesn't it? So you've got to change the culture and create different decisions to be made. But also, it seems like in some states, there's way more of a liberal agenda to, like, making mifepristone, or am I saying it right? Mifepristone or
Mifepristone.
Sorry about that.
Stone.
And that you can order it in the mail. I can order. Did you tell me this story? Somebody told me this story that you can order this pill to kill babies, and you can do it for your friend, and not much is required. You can fill this thing out, and they'll mail it here, and you can give it to your buddy.
Even today, Plan C, which is an organization that will mail the abortion pill to any state in the country. And some states are protecting life in the womb, and it's illegal to do that. But they don't care, and it's hard to trace, you know. It's very difficult in medications coming in through the mail. The woman hasn't seen a physician. You know, she's at risk if there's an ectopic pregnancy that puts her life at risk if she takes the abortion pill. And there's severe complications. If they never see the doctor, we're not sure of how far along the baby is. And the older the baby is, once it's past 10, 11, 12 weeks, the pill is less effective. And even if she takes it, on the FDA website, it says it's only 93% effective. So go figure, you know.
Right.
But the young girls that are getting this information are not getting the full informed consent. And that, you know, as a surgeon, that's something that's really near and dear to me, because you need to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. And hopefully everything comes out for the good, but complications occur, and people need to make informed choices. And I think that if they were truthful with what happens, then it wouldn't. And the other thing, you know, you hear about preborn. It's a new organization, relatively new. They provide ultrasounds for pregnant women. And we know that if a woman sees her baby, sees that heartbeat,
she's 60%
more
better
likely
chance of keeping that baby.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
That's
I only know that because we did the ultrasound machine and I got it.
Right.
All right, last question for you, sir, and we can talk about whatever general topic, but this is probably the harder one, and I just thought of it. Thank you, daughter of mine, Kayla. Thank you very much, because you've given me some real inspiration with my thoughts here. And one of them is, like, what if a girl gets raped? You know, what about in those cases?
Right.
You know, we want to make rules all the way across the board, and that's where I always have arguments from people on the other side is like, well, what about in the case where, you know, she was raped or she was, any of that stuff.
Molested, incest.
Yeah, molested, there you go,
especially underage.
Sorry, underage, yeah, right.
Age of consent is 18.
So there's this little basket, this small percentage, but it's real, that
Right.
really happens.
It is, and those two things combined are probably less than 1% of the total number of abortions that occur in the United States. So it's very rare. It happens, yes, it does, but it's still a life. And now that's a tremendous crime against the woman, whether it's rape or incest. That person should be prosecuted fully,
right.
So they don't do that again to another victim, another woman.
Right.
But now you're taking the woman who's just suffered a tremendous trauma, an incredible insult, and now you're going to kill the baby. So you're creating a second trauma by killing the baby. And there's a woman that I'm considering having speak at our March for Life this year who was raped, who kept her son, and said it was the best thing that she ever did.
Wow. Yeah, so I was talking to a priest at dinner the other night, and look, I was just trying to speak, and I like to be an advocate for those that aren't there. So I'm like, well, what about this, Father? You know, talking about a woman who gets raped. And he literally put his fork down, and he goes, so you're telling me this happens, this wrong happens, and our answer is we're going to go kill a baby.
Do another wrong.
That's where our brain is wrong. Like we shouldn't even be a thought to go there. Well, anything else you want to share? I just want to support you. I want to be walking by you. You're one of my first interviews. I have a bunch scheduled, but just organic with our time, with lunch, and all that. Right. I was like, let's talk with Dr. Pincus. I really want to get your message out to anybody. And again, we feel like we're going to get this out to other people. Give one last message about why people should be against abortion, if you would. Even if we have to chop it up, you can take a little time.
So it's all about the sanctity of life. And I think sometimes we can't always come at it from a religious perspective, because a lot of the people are not in it for that reason, or not looking at it from that reason. But what we have to do is support the woman, meet the woman where she is, provide for her needs so that she can feel comfortable making that choice for life. And then we got to support the babies. So we have to support the woman and take care of the babies.
Yeah.
So I think that's most important. I would love to see everybody at the prayer breakfast February 1st. If you can't make that, there's the March for Life, totally free. Halifax Mall, again here in Raleigh.
Yep.
May 17th, it's a Saturday. We'll have a youth program first, and then we'll have the main rally, and then a march around the government buildings.
We're going to be putting your website up so everybody can go to it, click on it, and see everything that you have going on. I was a part of the rally at Halifax Mall this last year. It was so exciting to not only be able to be a part of it with Dr. Pincus and his crew, but to be able to walk around with everybody in unity as a family in support of this. And I think we can even throw a shot from last year. Will had his drone out there. We got a couple good shots. But guys, this is a very serious topic. You need to make sure you're talking to trustworthy people when you're talking about this topic. That's the thing, right? Because we just had a conversation yesterday on our podcast that no matter how passionate somebody talks or how much energy they have, make sure you're fact checking. That doesn't mean to believe everything that you hear, okay? But we want to bring you people that are actually in the service, that are in the truth. And Dr. Pincus, we thank you for coming, man.
Great. Anytime.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right. Thanks.
Sheepdog out!